Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming to this, fantastic venue, honestly. It's amazing. So, today just a quick something about the logistic. After this presentation, those presentations actually, so please, you can move to the other side of the Agora in order to exchange ideas, have some cocktail and maybe some food if you like, okay? So I'll try to keep the mic okay. And we will start now. In fact, tonight we will have two presentations into one. A brief presentation about BOSAGORA project, and to put into context also the next presentation, which is to be a real showcase, Defora, and you will understand that as strategic partners, we are really very closely linked, okay? Now, so what about that? Laurels already from the beginning? Okay, in fact, our roots are South Korean. The project initiated in South Korea, and for some, quite a few reasons, that was also binational in Switzerland. We'll come to it in a second. So, look at that. 95 countries participated to the ICO after having read our innovative white paper. And in 17 hours, we reached the hard cap. It's quite a feature. And we gathered 6,902 BTC. Well, at the time, it was $1,900, but still, it was something. So that was the first ICO in South Korea, and that was something. Now, this is Zug. Okay, we are part of this crypto valley phenomenon, but we are also now having opened an office in Geneva, literally this morning at the UN Business Center. So actually we are a bit like Swiss, really Swiss, for all okay, and look, oh my God, I'm so awful, sorry, don't look at me. So here we have our good president, In-Wan Kim, is in the room, so he's going to take all your questions later. Our senior partner lawyer, MME, very specialized in cryptocurrencies. My good friend and CEO, Lee Moon-soo, a senior developer, jazz lover as well. The man I'm interacting on a daily basis because it's about finance and protecting the assets. And finally, last but not least, our really outstanding CTO, Frenchman, Matthias Lang, okay? So, by the way, leadership, yes, but is going to get dissolved. You will understand why in a minute. Okay, you understood that we are really multinational, okay? We have a team from 10 countries. I was told that we speak up to 18 languages, and 28, 29, it's changing almost on a daily basis, people. And what I like to say about this slide is that, to be diverse, it's good for projects, okay? Diversity and to be not all the same, we do better. Aha, okay, we are a bit like in the universe. We will come back on Earth, to Earth very quickly. ALT, alt wars, what does it mean? Wow, that is what it means, okay? And you can read. It's a bit difficult, but all those names are real. Alt for alternative coins. God, is it a war? It's not a Star War. But is it a war, really, between all of us, ourselves, to compete? Yeah, maybe, actually. But look, so BOSAGORA is a little bit in the middle right now. But what? Now I'll tell you the question. Why on earth did we need yet another coin? We will try to answer that question, okay? What is our differentiator, okay? All renamed, huh? You know that? Bitcoin, grandfather. One day, 31st of October 2008, a certain Satoshi Nakamoto, if he exists, wrote, something which would change a little bit. It's just the beginning. It will change many things in the years to come. Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. I will not read to you the abstract. We have no time. We have Defora waiting. But you read that, you understand already 90% of everything. Okay? So Bitcoin is fantastic. And Bitcoin is more than fantastic. Bitcoin has, got to the status of digital gold, store of value in less than 10 years. It's quite a feature. So some people are still negative, but unfortunately, nothing is completely perfect. Why? Well, everybody knows why, actually. Even those people who don't know much about cryptos and so, they say, yeah, but you're spending so much energy, and it's really true. Look at this. Oops. Actually, operating Bitcoin uses more electricity than just having Switzerland all together over 1 year on a yearly basis. Amazing, right? Anyway, but, okay, the thing is, there are real problems with Bitcoin. The waste of energy is one of them, okay? This is the POW. We will not touch that too much, but it's proof of work. The miners are fighting each other to close transactions and write the next block on the blockchain, right? And doing that, they use a lot of electricity. So, but it's not the only problem. There's another problem. It's about governance. Governance, there is, peer-to-peer electronic cash system, no governance layer, right? So the only way to solve conflicts and problems is hard fork. That means that, okay, a new version of the software is issued, and all the users have to upgrade to that. Okay, I won't say more. Oh, by the way, okay, I will tell you a little bit later about more technique. Now we'll start quickly to understand a little bit why would a serve to exist. Okay, so we are proof of stake compared with proof of work. So actually we are reaching consensus. Our consensus algorithm is not needing to compete to each other. It's another system. For those who are interested, they can come later and we'll explain in details, right? Full node will come back. 5 seconds, that's an interesting one. You may have seen that for the Bitcoin, the transaction time blocks are 10 minutes. Now it's 5 seconds. It's a sea change, right? I would say that our blockchain, okay, platform will be quite suitable for micro payments. This is an emerging, phenomenon, a need, and a new thing, and I think we could accommodate that quite well. The other important point in this slide is about governance, because we, as BOSAGORA project, we have a coin, the BOA, and we have a kind of parliament, a congress of the node validators, the people being in our community have their say. Actually, they have their say on many things. We will come to it in a second. Aha, that is the technical slide, because I think that some people here are also interested in learning more about what we are doing. Under the, when you open in the car, some people want to understand what about the engine, and that it is about the engine. We actually, to translate that in English, we have huge ambitions. And you know what? Is to become the first decentralized, POS, scalable blockchain. That means that something a feat that nobody has been able to achieve, but we are optimistic about it. So for those who want to understand more about this, very important, by the way, David and Brian on the technique side in our project will be very happy to discuss with you, to dig further with you about that, okay? We have no time now. So let's go to the big one. This is the overview of our project. And here you will understand the other, and this is really unique feature, which is like, look, you have to understand, and nowadays it looks like very exotic, but listen. The idea is to have a kind of autonomous, self-managed community, ecosystem, sailing, when it's finished, when everything, we have a virtual country, we have a parliament, and we have a budget, the commons budget, okay? So we are well equipped, to become completely automated and do our things, but in order to manage all those fantastic features, we need a governance, something to organize all that with the trust contracts and everything. And that will be Defora, okay? Later, they will present to you an app, which it's slightly different, but they, as a strategic partner with us, we will develop all that together so that everything can function, the members of the community or people willing to develop on our blockchain can indeed develop the apps, getting funding from the commons budget, okay? So, but to decide which project would be the best, and so that will be to kind of unleash collective intelligence to be clever and optimal. We need something which you will get more explanation in a minute, actually, through the Defora presentation. So here I would say we have our Congress network. Of course, people helping to run the nodes, but will get rewards. And the people willing to develop on our platform may, if people vote in favor, get funding and get aggregating to our ecosystem, okay? So these are tools, right? These are tools. Tools to do what, okay? It's a I would say, multi-purpose blockchain. But, look, today we are in Geneva. Geneva is what, we can say, the world center for global governance. We have all the international organizations. We have so many NGOs, but we have also sustainable finance. We have humanitarian work. We have a kind of a nexus of things which would help, and that's why I'm hoping to have a lot of discussions with you later tonight, to have discussing, exchanging ideas, and maybe trying to figure out, and even shaping, penciling, some use cases. And okay, I have a few children here. Hey, hi, guys. And that's why, to me, there is no, and now I'm not joking, there is no other more important thing to do than trying to adapt and to already maybe to see things, straight ahead, and to admit that we, over the last 70 years maybe, we did a bit too much for the planet, and actually we are at the end of quite a few roads, okay? Insects, and you know better, okay? This is real, unfortunately. I don't think we will disappear in about 8 years, hopefully not, but we have to do something. The good point is that we can do something. So why did we put here creating exponential impact with blockchain? You will say, oh, exponential, come on guys, marketing, blah, blah. No, I have to tell you, just one example. one amongst many examples actually. Last week, a few of us went to Malta, where there was, forgot the name of the AIIC something meeting, very huge. And by the way, Malta has become the most, blockchain-friendly regulation in the world. Switzerland should wake up. Geneva and Zug should really ding ding, wake-up call, guys, because this little tiny island south of Sicily is just outstanding nowadays. Anyway, the thing is that I happened to discover Akon, the R&B Grammy Award winner. Okay, I didn't know him actually. The thing is, okay, the man made quite a fortune. Grammy Award, and so he made a fortune, right? And but instead of just laying in Hollywood doing nothing on nothing match, he created a coin. The man is Senegalese American, and and why? Because in Africa, you have so many young people willing to do something, willing to do something of their life, but there is no possibility. Now, he's creating a possibility through this A-coin. I advise you to have a check. And is because most people there, they have no bank account, but they have a smartphone. So it's enabling, it's an enabler. Then they can start doing something with their life. And I think that this Akon gentleman single-handedly did maybe the most that one individual did ever for Africa. And that was through blockchain. So this was really exponential. Now, I'm almost finished, sorry. How can we help? Okay, how can we help? I will take quickly two examples. One would be charity, because it looks like, especially when you cannot take it out of your, fiscal sheet, you can deduct from the taxes. People tend to not donate so much anymore. There is maybe a donor fatigue, okay? But it's mostly because people think, yeah, well, I'm willing to give $10, 10 francs, 10 euros, but how much of it will reach really the beneficiaries? Who knows, actually, okay? So I think for reputation, for those who dare, there would be a lot of mileage, to put those donations on the blockchain and to have transparency and traceability. This is feasible, and we are willing to engage in a pilot project about that, okay? How to help charities to manage their donation flow better and to prove how it works to their donors, okay? So that would be, something. Another one quickly, it's about construction. It's not but I thought, and then I checked on internet, 10 minutes was enough. Construction and blockchain, and what do you get? You get something something from ETH Zurich, the two professors. I have the hard copies, we can discuss that later together, and a fantastic Harvard Business Review article about this, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, construction. Have you ever tried to renovate something or build something? It's a disaster, okay? Over the last 50 years, actually, there was no gain in productivity at all in the construction industry, or nothing much. So to put everything on the blockchain, imagine 95% of the information about the building are lost when the contractor gives the building to the owner, the first owner. So that should stop. And I think we could gain a lot there, and BOA could also, we could have rewards, incentives, and so on. I don't want to be too long, but really there is something to do about it. And I would say that together with a lot of collective brains, collective intelligence even tonight, why don't we craft already some strategic partnerships and business use cases, okay? Now, I'm definitely finished. I will just like end up with a teaser. Okay. This is a blue whale. Okay. This is an elephant. It's amazing. Maybe it's the biggest animal, and having left maybe beside the blob, but really, and this animal, it's. I will end up on that. Over its lifetime, for different reasons, a blue whale will sequester as much carbon as planting 35,000 trees. 35,000 trees. So we have some ideas that we will develop over the next months. So this presentation is now finished. What I wanted to stress is that we have a Congress, we have a budget, we are autonomous, we are a new breed of business, and we need ironclad governance, and for that, luckily, we have the best, and the best is Defora from KoSAC. Thank you. Hold on.
Thank you.
Okay.
So do I need both mics? Okay, well, so that everyone can hear me clearly. Why is this not? Okay, so thank you so much, Serge, for your wonderful presentation. And as you can imagine, a project of that scale, of that complications, is going to require extensive communications and a lot of meetings, right? So including a lot of people that's here present, including the project members, can I have a show of hands for those who came here from an unnecessarily long meeting this week or sometimes in this month, right? Where seemingly solvable issues are still left unresolved and people are still left confused. Or worse, you do reach a decision somehow, but you really agreed just because you are too worn out to argue otherwise. And this is why I'm here today, to tell you that like a project like BOSAGORA or any other groups or organization that requires collective decision making don't have to go through the frustrations of how group communications will be and still make good decisions together. Because as everyone here knows, decision making is not just frustrating, but if you don't get it right, then you'll end up with bad decisions, and that's going to be very expensive for you. So remember that leading camera company that chose to miss a massive market opportunity of digital camera that it developed itself? Well, it's not so established anymore. Or that fashion brand thinking that it was a really good idea to mock its biggest customer base with a racist marketing campaign, and now is still trying to cope with the sale losses because they got banned from selling in China. So despite all these people involved, all the meetings they probably had, the times and resources spent together, why do these terrible decisions continue to happen? And because that decision isn't like unlucky natural disaster. There are actively human-created problems that can and should be solved. And so we decided to get to the bottom of this because we thought we should make it our mission to solve this problem that affects everyone. So we were able to realize that behind every terrible decision, that there was exclusion, that stakeholders who know the field knowledge or are most often directly impacted by the decision reached don't really get to say and speak up in the decisions that's made. And that's due to power dynamics, social and peer pressure, or biases, or all of them together at once. We are always wary of how we'll be judged for what we say by other people. Will my boss think I'm stupid? Will my friends think I'm weird? Will I create a conflict by saying this topic? And of course, we judge other people too, all the time. And so we don't really listen to what they say. We really care more about their age, their gender, their social positions than the opinions that they actually have. And so naturally, we are left without a full or accurate picture of what's happening, and therefore we really can't come up with a really accurate solution. And so that leads to very disappointing and unrepresentative outcomes. Also, group decisions today are tragically inefficient. Even when people are included, without skilled facilitation or moderation, the meeting becomes very often this endless loop of ever-diverging, repetitive opinions that fails to progress, right? We've all experienced those meetings where you just sit there confused. What am I doing here? What's that person talking so much? What's going to happen next? What is the objective of this meeting? And even somehow, if miraculously a decision was reached, people forget. And you have to start all over again. Sound familiar? If not, you're very, very lucky people. So we decided to devise a solution for this situation, because empowering people to make collective decisions together is the best way we knew how to better the world, and it's something that really affects everyone. So first and foremost, we thought inclusivity was the key. We created a concept of voice, which is used to make contribution. So and they are distributed equally in a limited capacity to all. So no one can just speak above other people and everyone will get a chance. So if I get 10 times to speak, then you get 10 times and you get 10 times too. And by making opportunity to participate something of a scarce resource, we can expect people to use it rationally. Before you open your mouth to just say and talk for the sake of talking, you have to really think now. Do I really want to say this above other things that I can say? Or is this the best ways to phrase what I want to say and I don't have to repeat my opinion so other people can understand? And at the same time, we acknowledge that equality is good, but not everyone has to speak exactly the same number of times. Sometimes people will have more to contribute, depending on the topic. And for this, members can delegate their voice to the people who they think best represents their interests or is the most constructive. And by this, everyone gets the opportunity to shape how the dialogue is going to take place. We experimented this concept of voice, something that's equal, limited, and delegatable, to our own company weekly meeting. And as a result, we're able to see that the meeting time was reduced by half on average, while having more diverse members speaking up, because previously we only had 2 or 3 people just talking all the time. And also, we were able to deal with the same number of agendas that we had before. Imagine your meetings half the time, but equally productive. But we don't want same productivity. We want better productivity in your meetings. And that is why we decided to introduce this concept of anonymous option, because we think to increase the productivity of a meeting, then you need some more new diverse opinions, an outside the box type of opinions, which can come when things like groupthinks or peer pressure or power dynamics are removed. And we think anonymity is the best way to do that. So, because it's not that we don't have opinions or we're not given the opportunity to speak, but more that we self-censor ourselves. In a room with very overly passionate people who really like their own voice, you would rather stay silent than being attacked on. But if people were anonymous, how do you know that their person is a really eligible member to be able to participate in the topic that you're discussing? And this is where our technology comes in, of using our patented AAID. We fully check your eligibility while protecting your privacy at the same time. So you can feel secure about speaking up your mind, and we can actually enable open and honest dialogues. To give a brief example of how effective anonymity is in speaking in a group, I would like to again share an example of our company. We made a room for our testing app called Radical Candor for Kibong, and Kibong is my boss sitting there. And we can give direct feedback to our CEO anonymously. And after this was open, we had very, very interesting responses. We had 1,000-word essay describing how his management could be improved, to a very brief but direct comment of, when you compliment, could you specify why you think so? And if you can't, don't compliment for the sake of it, because it feels very patronizing. And everyone who heard it was, oh, yes, that's true, but I could never really say that before. And it's not that it is something that is wrong, but it's sometimes very uncomfortable to say this in people's face, especially if that person is your boss, right? So, and we are different from other platforms who promises you that your privacy will be kept because they will try their best not to get hacked. Defora develops our own system even when we cannot keep track of your digital footprints using our authenticated anonymous identity. Authenticated Anonymous Identity, or AAID for short, because it's a bit of a mouthful, is a unique system that allows the benefits of both anonymity and authentication at the same time. So here we gave you a brief diagram of how it works. The user gives Defora data to prove their eligibility to participate. It could be your mobile number or your company email address. And once verified, we issue a key that is held only by you in your local device. Utilizing homomorphic encryption, the key is used to generate a one-time permit for each of the activities on the platform. And because we compute directly on encrypted data, despite Defora doing the work for you, we don't know really anything about you, except for the fact that you are eligible. And this means that all of your activities on Defora cannot be connected together or be traced back to you, and the only key that can is held by you only, no third party, not even Defora. And with inclusivity in place, we moved on to designing an efficient way to save people time and frustration. We did so by creating a system that was flexible enough to reflect changing needs in real time, and that members will be clearly signposted so they know what to expect at what particular time. And lastly, all of the activities will be archived and made searchable to keep and enforce progresses in a transparent manner. And of course, they can be used as references for future solutions. To further explain how this works, we'll give you an example flow of a good decision making. So within your group, let's say your local community, your constituents, your classmates, or your employees, you can begin to identify issues of common interest. Like, what should be our goal for next year? And you can discuss it about what strategy should we take. Maybe we should diversify our portfolio. If so, which sectors should we go to? And there are many recommended options, so we can carry out a vote to see how everyone thinks. And even after reaching a decision, we can conduct a review to see how well the decision is playing out. What could have been improved? Let's discuss this. And we continuously are able to identify decisions and develop on our past decisions. And there are many other contexts that requires collective decisions. We don't know how everything will be. Even the people making the decisions don't know everything they want in advance. It may be a straightforward, a single discussion, and you're able to reach a consensus. But sometimes you would require multiple votes, multiple discussion, and multiple reviews. And so what we do is we let you choose the path as you walk them. So here, when you identify a topic of common interest, then you can choose the best fitting templates that you need for that specific time. It might be a vote to decide on a specific date, but then later the context might change and you need another vote or a different discussion to continue on. And after the event, you can review how things were, and discourse can be expanded into many areas endlessly, and people can still be able to keep a clear relationship and connections between the different decisions and the activities that happened. So, now that you learned the core main values and concept of Defora, let me guide you through how these actually play out on screens. So, this is our app, and when you enter, you are able to see a list of activities that you are involved in, or you can view the activities in terms of groups that you belong to. A group is a community of people that have common interests, whether it be your company, your apartment block that you live together, your school, or interest groups. Basically, any groups where you have collective decisions to make together. Each of the group will have collaborative activities. Anyone in the group can make an activity to engage other members. Here we have a fictional company called Korean Green Investments, and I am a member of its strategy team. We discuss all matters that requires input from all of the members, and from strategic key decisions to group event coordination. So let's try making one right now. Currently, we offer 3 templates that you can choose for your activity. You can pick whichever one you think best meets your needs, and we can start with the discussion, where it's for when you want your members to exchange opinions together. It can be used for ideation, brainstorming, suggestion box. Reviews can be used for evaluation, like product reviews or personal evaluation or surveys. And the vote is used for any issues where you need to pick one or multiple options out of multiple candidates. And of course, we can continuously update and add on new types of templates or features so we can actually have more diverse situations dealt with on Defora. So here I want to gather people's opinion for, let's say, the most suitable date for our team retreat. So I create a vote, enter in the relevant information so that people can know what they're actually doing, and I choose the settings for the type of the vote I want. Simple. And to see an already created activity, let's look at this discussion. So in this brainstorming session, people can give their opinions on the topic. The most recommended opinions becomes more visible, and the people can give their comments on it as well. You can see that this session is conducted anonymously, where you're represented with a random nickname. This is so that despite anonymity, people can still have a follow and refer to the communication happening. So it's based on the AAID explained before, where we create the unique one-time identity. So what this means is, for me participating in a different discussion, I will be given a different nickname, so that even within the same discussion, people can't make a link between a person who said this to a person who said that, despite them being a same person. And here, this is a screen where we can write your opinion or a comment, and you have to spend your voice. It's a token of how many times you can speak and contribute to the activity. And by making a voice-limited resources, we can expect people to exercise it more effectively and limit trolling and keep the discussion focused. No more of those, oh, yesterday my cat, or let me clarify for the 5th time because I really like hearing my voice. So when a deadline is met and a discussion is closed, then we can see the top opinions and the popular keywords, so you can gain a very quick, effective, bird-eye sight towards how the discussion progressed. And here you can also make then a connected activity. So a lot of people gave a lot of good opinions, but we can't follow all of them. We have to prioritize. So why don't we make a vote? And we can make a connected vote, automatically pulling from the top opinions from the previous discussion, and they will be made into votable options. After viewing the candidates, people can select an option, or if there was an option that you really don't like, if you don't like any of the options, then you can add your own option. This is to give a channel for people to not be simply passive of saying yes or no or I don't know, but be able to give an active, better alternatives options that you think will better benefit the discussion. And once I vote in, I can check my vote, but also view what other people think about each of the options that there were. And if I acquire new information that helps me to make better decisions, then at any time before the vote closes, I can change my vote to reflect my true choice. And understanding the full context of is crucial in better decision making. For this, you can connect related activities and view them in a thread. Through this, you can see the history of how activities evolved and access previous activities for references and gain better insights. Of course, you can continuously add on new ones to build up on the decisions you made before. And to do that, a review is a good way of template of gathering a lot of people's feedback or gain their opinions at a mass scale. From performance reviews to research surveys, they can all be conducted on Defora. And you can collect people's feedbacks after a decision and view them in much details. And you can view these details results, helping you to capture the group's opinion, empowering you to know your employees, your constituents, and your customers at scale. So by this point, you may be thinking, okay, the app looks cool, but why should I use it? And how is Defora different from existing collaborative software? And well, you should use it because everyone here has to make decisions together about work, your environment, your politics, education, and so much more. And so therefore, by using this platform, you'll be able to make better group decisions, minus all the hassles of gathering people at the same time. You'll have decisions based on greater information and perspective combined. For example, if someone pointed out that the marketing campaign was going to backfire big time and was able to speak out and be heard, the catastrophe mentioned in the introduction could have been avoided. And lastly, people can have better accountable commitments, and people can understand the decision that was made. It's not unilaterally just given to you, you have to do this, but you can see the steps and the logic behind how this decision was reached, and therefore you are able to accept it better. And at the end of the day, the people who have to live and implement this decision will be able to make better commitments. And of course, as people practice being able to speak up their mind in a safe zone, then we think people are able to develop and their ability to better express themselves and really pursue what they want. And of course, for Defora, we'll be able to collect your data and your actions so that we can continuously improve the features for your needs. And you may think that there are already a lot of apps that does this, but really, none could provide everything you need like Defora. Before, you couldn't enjoy the benefit of anonymity, which were freedom of speech and elimination of bias, while also having security and trust provided by authentication. You couldn't have facilitated discussions while also making sure that people had equality. Because for facilitation, you had to rely on facilitators who, well, yes, made things a bit efficient, but exactly had more control and influence compared to other people. And messenger apps that we all use can be very, very helpful and can be used in all sorts of situations. But once it gets large, it becomes a mess. If you go into a lot of Telegram channels with over 500 people, then you really can't keep up with what's actually happening and you can never reach a decision there. Government petition boards, such as the Blue House in Korea, works for many people at the same time, but there is only a fixed use to it and you can't expand it in a different contexts. Basically, Defora enables you to enjoy all of these previously mutually exclusive benefits at the same time on a single platform. Plus, Defora is incentivized. You can directly interact with issues that affect your own life. For example, our company put up a discussion topic on Defora about the new layout for our office. It's not something a single person can unilaterally decide on or knows best about. Every member of KoSAC actively engaged in giving their opinions of how they think the layout would be made because it's a space that they spend 1/3 of their entire life, not life, their days in, I hope not life. So, But sometimes you may need opinions from those who are not directly affected by your decisions, right? And that's still very valuable for you. So Defora allows you to put up a reward system that incentivizes the people to participate in giving their opinions for your benefit. For example, if you want your customers' review on your product, then you can set up a topic with point rewards for participants. And the reward points can be purchased on our app or could be earned by helping us to improve, by giving us feedback or bringing more of your friends on board. So then, who can use Defora how? Defora is a freemium, so anyone can use Defora for their collective decision-making needs. There is nothing to pay to make activities when using our standard private groups. You can invite how many number of people you want. But there is also a subscription model where if you want to fine-tune your collective decision-making and access larger storages, this is an option that you can take. So if you just want to try out Defora to see if it really works, or you are a small personal group, then you can sign up for a private standard group and you can enjoy it and make unlimited number of activities. But if you are a larger company or a school that cannot really check your eligibility based on emails and you would want more different features, then you can sign up for our subscription model. But we also think that groups doesn't always have to be private. There are a lot of public models where you want inputs from as many people as possible. So if you can create a public group which will be searchable for people to engage in, you can make this one. But if you want some more specific eligibility for public groups, such as the area of residency or their age criteria, then you can contact us and we will give customized integrations for you. So if you're a public policymaker or a crypto project where you have your holders across the world, then this is the options that you need to take. But if you really want people's opinions in general for social issues and make a social forums about it, then you can make a public open group, which is again free and everyone to enjoy. So when will you be able to start using Defora? Our developers are very busy developing our products so that it will be available as soon as possible on 15th of January next year. We'll be conducting a beta phase where you can sign up through either approaching me or my team today or signing up on our website, defora.io. Based on the feedbacks that we get in the beta phase, we will launch the official app version in March and continuously give more features such as desktop versions and other analytical features. And again, our updates and details would be communicated through our newsletter, which can be seen on this website. So you can put up your name cards on the bowl at the registration desk, and we'll do that for you. Or you can go into our website that our wonderful marketing manager has made and contact us. And we would love to hear your opinion. Or you can see those papers stuck in every walls of this room, and you can scan a QR code in which you will be directed to our survey to give us feedback. And if you do that, then we'll be contacting you back so we can give you points to use when the Defora app actually comes out. And for rest of you, happy holidays. It's a bit early, but who doesn't like holidays? And after holidays, you'll be able to use Defora and hope to see you then. So thank you so much. And are there any questions? Yes, at the back. Do you need a mic? Or?
Yeah, I think it would be better if you have the mic. Where's the mic? The mic is here. Don't move. In order for you to be recorded. Thank you.
Yeah, first of all, if the platform works as you say, it's amazing. Okay, it also looks very good, like from the user experience. My question is, how much can you scale it? Like, can you scale it? Let's say, for example, because I see right away you can use it for a large enterprise, and you can actually use it also for a country. So, how much can you scale this?
We think that this is very scalable because we initially designed it so a lot of people can use it at the same time. I think the scalability issue here is about how large we can develop our storage and servers, and that is obviously something we can invest in to continuously meet the increasing demands of our users.
Last question. Is it possible, let's say for example, a government comes to you and they ask you, hey, listen, sounds good, we would need this, we want to collect all the data from our like residents.
Right.
Can this be white labeled?
Well, as we said, that even us, we can't connect the identity of the user to the contents that they make. So if it's a public group, then obviously the content is searchable and viewable by everyone. So it doesn't only have to be the government. It can be research institutes or other companies who can exploit this data. But the problem with the current way the data is exploited is not just data is used, it's tracked back to a person to manipulate that particular individuals, not to really make a better features, like not just make better features. So therefore, yes, the data is available, but it won't be going against the privacy regulations that we see as a problem in other services.
Let me add my comment.
Yeah.
You mentioned about white labeling. We are open to discuss that matter because we are developing APIs as well, so that we can, some cases you might want to integrate into your own system. It could be your legacy system or your future system you have in mind. So to help you integrate with your own system, we are developing APIs. So in that case, we technically it is possible to make a white labeling model. Yeah. Anyway, we are open to discuss that matter. Thank you.
If there is other questions, we can accept maybe one or two, or you can approach me
Even more.
drinking
But
wine and cocktails.
Q&A also, all together.
Yes.
If you have any questions about BOSAGORA, also I forgot to say something. We have two wonderful people, another people like Akiko and Atma will be so delighted to all together help this discussion about what we could do together in Geneva, okay? So feel free to contact them, Akiko and Atma. And yeah, more questions, please. No? Don't be shy.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Come in.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to ask questions. I want to ask, how is the incentives system going to work for the Defora platform?
Okay, so at the moment, the point system is again used to put up as reward for other people. Then what do you do with the points you gain? We think that people's opinion, especially when aggregated, are very, very valuable. That's why people spend a lot of money for surveys or customer reviews and evaluation and so on. So what you can do is you can, if you collect enough points or if you want to buy more because it takes a lot of time to collect it, then you can create an activity where there must be a topic that you are interested in and you want people's engagement to it so you can gain value from it. So therefore we create this virtuous cycle where the points you gain by offering a valuable opinions to others that you can use to gain valuable opinions from other people. And later on we can add on other incentive mechanism of you can actually use your points to purchase things that you would want in your daily lives, but that is to be coming in the roadmap. But the basic concept is that we think points can be equivalent to the value of individuals' opinions. So if you want more details for discussion, we don't want the incentive system to interfere with how people will respond in an activity. So it will be, for example, if you give an opinion with the most recommended likes, then you win the rewards that was put up. But for voting or reviews, then it could be divided by the number of people participated, and that's how it will work. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I got it, thank you. A quick question, I just like to better understand how the two systems are integrated. I mean, we had a presentation on BOSAGORA and now Defora. What's the connection and how interoperable are they?
Hello, my name is David. I'm from BOSAGORA project. That's a very good question. I think we did a pretty bad job explaining that in the beginning. So BOSAGORA is, as you know, is a blockchain platform And for this platform, our differentiator, we would like to focus on is enabling projects. Whether you're a nonprofit, whether you're an enterprise, whether you're a developer, it doesn't matter who you are. If you have an idea and you want to create that idea and create that into a reality, then we want to enable you for that. Whether it's funding, whether it's technology that we can provide in terms of our platform, or any advisory consulting services as well. In order to do that, especially when it comes to deciding which projects are we going to support, who are we going to support, because let's imagine there could be 100 people, 100 developers, 100 ideas that are all great, but how do we decide on which ones to support? And that's where our democratic decision making comes to play. And that's where Defora comes into play. Defora is our core attribute when it comes to gathering of the opinions, ideation, voting on which is really earth-shattering creative ideas that we want to support and see it happen, so you come to reality. So that's where the two integrations come in.
So to build a bit more, every blockchain projects, as you know, already have communities and governance systems somewhere, whether it be a Telegram chat room or a Slack channel or more official built-in integration system. But we see that there were flaws in all the existing types of communication channels that the project has set up for the users and the investors. There are many stakeholders scattered across the world, and they really couldn't come up with a way to come to a consensus. And that's why the differentiating shader for BOSAGORA is not just for project, which is also a big part, but within their internal communities, they need to come up with where are we going to focus our marketing campaigns on? Or maybe there should be a systemical change to make our system more efficient. And all these kind of things, from small to big, are all collective decision-making needs, and therefore this is where Defora will serve them.
Mm. Let me add. Yeah. Unfortunately, we didn't. Our CTO couldn't make here, so I'm representing technical side as well. So. I take your question for a little bit more like a technical point of view, and in that technical side, two projects is going to be combined as a one, because we didn't touch that story yet. However, we believe the result of deliberation or the vote, the ballot, should be kept somewhere very intact and very secure and very reliable. That is the blockchain. So we call it deliberation ledger. So our deliberation ledger would be BOSAGORA in this context. And however, BOSAGORA is in the middle of development. So we are kind of waiting for another year to make the integration complete. However, our goal is there. So those two projects will be combined together 1 year later. And that's our objective. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, yes.
Okay, I have just two questions. How are you going to manage the security on the long term? I mean, are you going to open the code? I don't know if it's the case or not. Are you going to put in place ongoing bug bounty program or something like that to ensure the code will be, checkable? We can control the code from outside to ensure the anonymity you promise. And the second question is, how are you going to manage the future of encryption? Because today there is lots of pressure from different governments about to weakness encryption, to put backdoors in it, and depending the country in which you will be present or in which your application will be used, maybe legislation will be different. Some country will allow full encryption and full protection, and some other won't. So how are you going to manage this problem?
Okay,
Thank
so that's a very good question, thank you. So the first question about the security in general, if we're going to open source or not. We think that open source is an eventual goal that most projects have to go to. But in the initial phase, we think that because we actually want to prove the concepts to be valuable, by making it open source, I think it could lead to more vulnerabilities. So at the first time, we're going to really focus on the actual features more. But again, security is important, and we are going to take the same measures as other top players that's not open sourced, but provides very secure and reliable systems by adhering to international regulations or standards that is available. And also we can take examples of we can get more professional, I think, advice and consultings to keep improving our security. And second part, which was about the different jurisdiction. And exactly, we think because different countries have a very arbitrary standards towards people's, their citizens' privacy and so on, we want to actually leave it to that country's jurisdiction. But also because there are a lot of countries, even in the US, it's not a fully settled matter. Like with the case of Apple and the FBI, it went to the court, but it was dropped, and there's still a contention that remains. So what we think is, at the moment, there is a need for such services where privacy should be fortified, and we will focus on that, and we will continue to, I guess, discuss with the different governments to come with a good contentions between.
Just to clarify those 2 points, is number one is anonymity is not the essential feature or core feature of using Defora. The reason why an anonymous option is available on the app is to get rid of social biases or power dynamics that might play into when you're making a decision. As in, you don't want your boss to know that it's you who's speaking, or you don't want to be judged because you're a minority in that large group. So anonymity is a side feature that gives us certain value. But also number two, the app works on the concept of AID, which is the main value is that you don't leave behind a digital footprint. So it's more than just anonymity. So even if, let's say in the Apple and the FBI case, where the FBI was so insistent on cracking the Apple iPhone device of a certain person that they suspected to be criminal, even if you do that, it's nearly impossible or incredibly difficult for you to then track that particular activity, trace it back to an individual, and trace that individual's activity thread. So even in different jurisdictions, say that they have different privacy requirements, the app's core technology relies on the fact that you cannot have a digital footprint, because we think that's quite important, right? It's not just about having the freedom to say things, but it's also that a company, as most issues with platforms today, can't capitalize on profiling a certain user. Or for example, what happened to Blind, that even if your servers are compromised, your boss doesn't know that you actually gave that negative critique of that project once the servers are compromised. Anyone have any questions?
So, I mean, we are always open to more conversations because the night isn't over yet.
Okay.
And so
Then I have to add a little something. It's more like a, sorry. Okay. Now we listen a lot. Now we are thirsty maybe, and we want maybe to stop. We can continue, but why don't we do that together with a glass of wine or whatever on the other side of the Agora, and on the Agora, at the Agora itself. So feel free slowly, or if you are very thirsty, even not slowly, to move over there. If you have further questions, please don't hesitate. If not, let's call it a day, kind of. Thank you so much, Hawan.